Here's another misconception that's very popular right now. An uncomfortable feeling is a sign I should leave. Many people think this is respecting their nervous system. But sometimes discomfort is danger, and sometimes discomfort is growth. Wisdom is learning the difference. Now, I'm a strong believer in stoicism. I believe that the obstacle really is the way. Working through appropriate discomfort builds grounding, it builds confidence, it builds security, and it expands the choices that are available to us in any given moment. Hello, welcome to the show. This is Emotional Badass, where Moxie meets mindful. I'm your host, Nikki Eisenhower, life coach and psychotherapist. And on today's episode, we're discussing what regulating your nervous system really means. Now, I want to talk about our nervous systems by breaking down and reframing some very common misconceptions being perpetuated online by well-intentioned people who, in my opinion, you can take it or toss it, understand the nervous system primarily through theory and research, rather than with their sleeves rolled up working with real human beings. Mental health isn't something to understand in a bubble. Emotional strength is built by living, by engaging with the world, by experimenting with what works better while letting go of what never worked or never did service. We emotionally strength train our minds, our bodies, and our capacity for spiritual connection, something that has been part of the human experience since the beginning of humankind. Here's a quick explanation for why social media has spawned so many of these misconceptions. Here's the first reason. Nuance doesn't perform as well as certainty. Nuance requires patience. And we live in this age of immediate gratification of everything right now. So slowly over time, almost accidentally, we're emotionally atrophying our capacity for patience, which pushes nuance further and further away. Short-form videos is another reason. These short-form videos that are so popular right now, they compress complex ideas into catchy slogans. People naturally gravitate toward explanations that promise immediate relief because we live in a quick fix culture. Pop a pill. Just gather more data. Find the hack. It's mental health fast food. I don't eat fast food and I don't serve it here. If you're drawn to my work, part of you probably already knows that you're hungry for something more nourishing. Your mind and body aren't looking for another mental health snack. They're looking for that full whole foods meal. And those meals, they take longer to prepare. They ask more of you. Sometimes you got to head out back to the store for an ingredient you forgot. It's work. To truly nourish, you're worth these enriching, nourishing meals. Sure, there's a time and a place for that quick meal, that fast food. But every day, all day long, we need something richer. So here are some misconceptions that are birthing out of this fast-paced, quick fix, under-nuanced movement that we're living through. So here are some misconceptions that I have for us to break down together. Misconception number 1, if I'm activated, something is wrong. Now, activation is part of being alive. The goal isn't to never feel activated. The goal is learning to recover and choose wisely while staying present. Instead of letting nervous system activation trigger the same old fear, anxiety, overwhelm, and survival stories, these neuropathways that bore these deep grooves, and we're trying to fill them in, so we have to stop walking them. And the way that we do this is we learn to slow down. We bring a willingness to slow and breathe. We question our thoughts instead of just allowing our thoughts to push us to the edge. We grow the muscles that help us respond instead of react out of nervous system activation. So here's the reframe. For if I'm activated, something is wrong. If I'm activated, I slow down and get curious. You feel the difference between the misconception and the reframe? Here's another misconception that's very popular right now. An uncomfortable feeling is a sign I should leave. Many people think this is respecting their nervous system. But sometimes discomfort is danger, and sometimes discomfort is growth. Wisdom is learning the difference. Now, I'm a strong believer in Stoicism. I believe that the obstacle really is the way. Working through appropriate discomfort builds grounding, it builds confidence, it builds security, and it expands the choices that are available to us in any given moment. Now, I know this because I've lived it. I had severe post-traumatic stress symptoms from childhood into my 30s. If you had asked 30-year-old me whether I could heal any further than I had, I probably would have said no. My childhood and young adulthood had been so traumatic that I believed I'd reached my ceiling. Thank goodness I was so wrong. Part of why I started this podcast, Emotional Badass, and why I continue doing it is because I know in my bones from both my own experience and 20 years working with thousands of people that far more healing is available than most people are led to believe. It's lifestyle. It's mindset. It's daily choices. Engaging the power that we have to choose. There's a lot that we don't get to choose, but boy, is there a lot of power in what we do. This is our emotional strength training. We don't want to accidentally have an avoidance muscle strength trained. It's in lifestyle and mindset, these choices. These are the places where I've consistently seen profound healing happen. And it doesn't happen like a light switch that gets flipped and all of a sudden the room is bright. We may have moments along the path that feel profound, like a light bulb going off. But this is more about strengthening these muscles over time. Now, medication has its place. I'm not anti-medication, and I'm certainly not criticizing anyone who chooses it through true informed consent. What I question is whether we as a culture have become too quick to assume that discomfort is pathology, instead of asking whether this discomfort is asking something of us, whether it's trying to show us something very important. We can choose to be the victim of these feelings, or we can choose to extract the wisdom from these feelings, like juice from an orange. If God is not a word that resonates with you, please don't throw away the wisdom of the serenity prayer. I'll say it for you like this. God or the universe or energy or the love of your pet, whatever you think is bigger than you on this planet, may this force grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Lifestyle, the language we use, the way we encourage ourselves, these are things you have the power to change. I'm not convinced we've gotten very good or even better than when I started my career at knowing the difference anymore. The ease of tech, the quickness of social media has added to this distortion. I don't think has clarified it. So here's a reframe. An uncomfortable feeling is an invitation to explore and evaluate. Is this danger? Or is this a potential teacher? Is there something I can learn here? Can you hear and feel even the difference in these questions? The difference in these misconceptions, these statements? One way is grounding. It's considerate of your whole being. Another is rooted in reaction and decision made from anxiety. Boundaries aren't mean. They're medicine. My 6-week Boundaries Intensive is designed for highly sensitive people who are tired of people pleasing and emotional burnout. It's not them. Stop blaming. It really is your lack of boundaries. Enroll now for October. Learn more at emotionalbadass.com/boundaries or check the link in our bio. Here's another misconception in nervous system regulation. Ooh, my nervous system doesn't like this. To this, I say, Maybe. But also, maybe you're just inexperienced. Maybe you're grieving. Maybe you slept poorly last night. Maybe you're confronting reality. Maybe your system has picked up a pathogen and you're starting to become sick. Maybe you're hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. Or maybe you're doing something courageous for the very first time, stepping outside of your comfort zone. Do you expect to build a rich, meaningful life while feeling comfortable all the time? When I started this podcast 8.5 years ago, I was painfully uncomfortable. Sharing my story and my ideas felt almost insane. It was like I had made a decision to walk through a crowded city completely naked every single week. I don't feel that kind of anxiety anymore about the show, or releasing my opinions, or letting people see me. Even though I'm a strong introvert, still, that hasn't changed in me. But I've cultivated comfort. I've cultivated muscles that can hold me so much better, so much more strongly and firmly and safely than I had back then. I feel, if you will, fully clothed now, recording and releasing episodes. And the only reason that I get to feel this security today, this comfort, was showing myself over 100 different countries. The show still gets downloaded in. It's more exposure than I ever thought I would ever have for any reason. And I feel secure in that today. It's because I walked through the discomfort instead of convincing myself to run away from it. The only way through is through. This is why learning the difference between judgment and discernment matters so much to a highly sensitive person's nervous system and life. Here's a reframe. And this is just a reframe. Maybe it inspires you to make a different reframe that fits you much better than I can over this microphone today. But here's the reframe. I can discern whether this discomfort is asking me to protect myself or inviting me to grow and discover something. Ease often comes after experience, not before. This is in part why the Boundaries Intensive has a whole lesson on expectations. We can't encourage and support ourselves if we're accidentally expecting ease to come before we have an experience. And that makes life very small. Here's another misconception about managing your nervous system. I should avoid anything that dysregulates me. I mean, we can understand why all of us would like to live on some utopian planet where we get to avoid every single thing that could ever dysregulate us. What a fantasy. Now, chronic overwhelm, those post-traumatic sets of symptomology, they deserve respect and consideration. But I don't think we learn how to respect and consider our nervous systems by avoiding all the things. Learning what brings your mind and body more peace is important. And ordinary stress and healthy conflict and personal challenge, continuing to learn, not just for the sake of having more factoids in your head, but learning what can truly support you. These are important stressors that we need to be strong in this life, to stay strong. And uncertainty is a necessary beast. We wonder why so many report anxiety. A lot of people don't want to make a move 1 inch forward until they're certain. That's a utopian luxury. We might be able to have certainty every now and then, here and there, before stepping forward or making a choice. But a hard reality is that we have to step into the unknown. We have to deal with uncertainty almost constantly. And when we do so, we're growing our resilience. We're showing ourselves and our inner child, wow, I really can handle that. See, I don't have to be so scared of uncertainty because I can figure it out when I get there. Things will become certain as I move forward. Think about what happens to someone who's in a coma for, let's say, a very long time, a year. Their muscles atrophy. Their bones lose strength. Use it or lose it applies not just to our physical bodies, but to our emotional lives as well. If your goal becomes avoiding anything that dysregulates you, you eventually avoid much of life too, not just the triggers. When this idea becomes a belief system, you're building your life on a foundation of fear and hypervigilance. Most people tell me they want to move from surviving to thriving. I mean, that's a no-brainer, right? Who's going to say I want to keep surviving? But we've got to get real. We can't build a life around fear and expect to thrive. Healthy fear has a purpose. When I backpack, I'm afraid of dehydration and heat stroke. That fear motivates preparation. It motivates my choices. I choose trails with abundant water. I triple check my filtration systems and have multiple systems. Then I go enjoy the hike. Fear was meant to motivate wise action, self-protective action, not become the water that we steep ourselves in like we're some kind of twisted up tea bag. The irony here? Living inside of fear, giving our energy to avoidance and escapism, these fantasies of utopia where we would never be uncomfortable or triggered, ends up actually dysregulating the nervous system anyway, because you don't live on that utopian planet where every single thing is honky-dory. We have friction down here on Earth, conflict, contrast. It's to grow us, it's to make us stronger. We don't want to carry any misconception that makes us hold a victimology. We are empowered and we can choose. So here's an available reframe. I can avoid what is dangerous and I can lean into what helps me emotionally strength train. I'm learning the difference for the rest of my life. I'm going to stop here and pick this up next week and make this a part 2. Y'all, if you understand what it truly is to regulate your nervous system, you will get out of that survival mode and into thriving just as quickly as you can. And moment to moment, as you do get triggered, you'll be able to come back to that grounding faster. I don't want us to harbor, as highly sensitive people, any misconceptions that make walking the healing, peaceful path harder or longer. Everything that I share with you in today's episode and always, and it's my commitment to myself as much as you, is to help you get there just as quickly and simply as is possible. But this truly is, it's depth work. It's not quick fix. It's not smacking a Band-Aid on something. It's having to clean out the wound and support yourself. That the pain that is inherent in cleaning out that wound isn't a bad pain. It's a good pain. We got to get in there and clean out that wound or it will fester. And then cleaning it out gets harder. It gets trickier and it gets more painful, not less. If these misconceptions and reframes are helping things click together for you, I hope you tune in for next week's episode. If you're so inspired, I'd love to have you in the next live stream so you can come and ask me a question directly that I can answer. Bring some nuance to, hopefully shine some light on. We get to have that in this life. I've had so many helpers and mentors and teachers and loving friends, wise friends along the way that have helped me add to my bag of wisdom. My birthday is this week, and I feel so blessed to be turning 46, to be able to turn back to my younger self, all the different ages that I have ever been, and be able to reflect on how much healing I have done, how much wisdom I have gained, how much peace I have practiced into and given permission for in my life. If you're struggling out there, I hope that my words, my voice, my messaging, even my passion comes through, that no matter what you're dealing with, there is healing available for you. And when you have struggle believing that for yourself, please know that even if I haven't met you, I'm holding that belief for you and I believe in it. I've held it for thousands of people at this point in my career, and I've had people hold it for me. And I'll hold it for you until you learn how to hold it for yourself. There is so much more peace and ease and spaciousness and joy and lightness and positive relationships that are just waiting for you. Light and love. I'm an emotional badass. You are an emotional badass. And together we are where Moxie meets mindful. Till next time, I hope you're out there enjoying your summer. And I'll see you right here next week for part 2. Bye-bye.